Hej och välkomna till ännu en intervju med min vän Anna Anderson. Anna är en andlig mentor, coach och bestsäljande författare. Hon har specialiserat sig på kvinnors välbefinnande under de senaste 15 åren och har ett globalt hälsoföretag. Hon är initierad och utbildad till Life Activation Practicioner och Healer i kung Salomons släktlinje genom The Modern Mystery School. Så byter vi till engelska. Welcome, Anna. Thank you for taking the time to join us here today.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
My absolute pleasure. So let's begin. We're talking about the life activation today. So
Mm.
my first question to you is, what was the reason that you decided to go forward and receive the life activation?
It was something I had never heard of before, and it was something that I didn't find or read about. I'd heard of the mystery schools, and I had Googled mystery school, and the modern mystery school came up. And I didn't know that there was a path, and I didn't know of the life activation, but I reached out to Ipsissima Kate, who I now know, but I didn't know who I was reaching out to. And she said, I said, what do I need to do? How do I access these learnings? Oh, look. And she said, life activation, empower thyself. And that was that. And it was like this weekend. So I did life activation on the Friday, empower thyself the next day. And then, yeah, so I didn't really know what I was doing or entering into, but obviously my soul did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really like a leap of faith.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
really
just knew I
cool.
needed to be there. I knew I needed to, it was what I'd been looking for. I knew that, but I didn't really know, my mind didn't know what it was, but yeah, I knew that I was in the right place.
Thank you for sharing.
Mm.
So as you said, you didn't know what it was, but you took this leap of faith to go on. And what was it after receiving that enormous amount of light that weekend that made you choose to, like, I want to step forward and actually offer the life activations to others to
Mhm.
become a life activation practitioner?
Yeah. Well, at the end of those 3 days, so life activation and then 2 days at empower thyself, I was asked a question, and the question was, what would you how would you describe this experience? And I said, I've come home. I knew I was in exactly the right place, and I knew it was what I'd always been looking for. I've spent a lot of my life training in modalities and learning how to grow and heal myself, and also to share that with others. And whatever I train in, there seems to be an end to that thing. Like it works, and then it's like, well, what else is there? And then I entered into the mystery school, and it felt like it doesn't feel like that. These modalities are so powerful. They are so healing. They bring so much light in. It's the real deal. It's the real path. It's what I'd been looking for. And so I just knew that all of a sudden there was this path that I wanted to progress in. I wanted to be able to learn how to share that. And I did Healers Academy. I learned how to do the life activation the month after I was initiated. So it was very, very quick for me. And again, my mind didn't really have time to consider it. I was just like, this is just what I'm doing. It's just the obvious next step. And my husband at the time was going through a cancer journey. He was going through his own healing process. And I just felt that it would be really supportive to him if I was able to offer these healings to him. And I mean, now I know it was just, it was part of my birth, just part of my contracts. It was part of what I was supposed to do, is to serve with this healing. It's such an incredible modality. It's thousands of years old. It's such a sacred healing. But yeah, I've just been guided along the path by my guides, by my soul, and I say yes, and then I figure out afterwards. It tends to be my way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right? To say
Yeah.
yes when you get offered. And then everybody thinks that the changes that happen after are the hard parts, but by then you've already decided, so it's already done.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's really beautiful. So you did do quite a lot of work in just 1 month, but could you share some of the changes that happened in your life after receiving a life activation, taking the Empower Thyself initiation, and also going to Healers Academy?
Yeah. After Empower Thyself, I came home and I said to my husband, I don't know what's happened, but I know it's important. And it has completely transformed my life, that all of a sudden I have this incredible modality that I bring to my clients to serve in my community, and it works. So for the last 3 years I have been observing, witnessing, noticing the changes that people experience when they receive a life activation. And so what happened in my life is just that everything started to I had greater sense of clarity, a greater sense of understanding of who I am, what I've come here to do. I'm doing that because it knocks you. It's like it guides you. It's like this is, this isn't the right path. And so sometimes actually the path of initiation and doing these things can feel very challenging, because things that perhaps weren't in alignment with who you really are start to fall away. So I've been deep into healing, into observing, into asking questions, into looking at who I am, the impact that I have in the world, how I serve, how I know what my true self is, and what I came here to do. And so everything has kind of been just moved along and polished, in a way, I think is the good word. So my life has become a lot more focused around God and the driving force around my eternal self, who I came here to be, my divinity, service, and how we create Shambhala and peace in this world. And so that's become my absolute focus. And so it just feels that there's this guiding light now in how I move forward in my life. And so whilst some things have fallen away, that's given a lot of clarity around my direction.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So who would you say would benefit to receive a life activation today?
Anyone that's soul is yes, or interested, that's like, yes, this sounds really curious. I mean, firstly, let's just talk about what it's like to receive. It's a beautiful hour and a half in a lovely space with a lovely person who's been trained and initiated in how to do this. It's an 8,000-year-old healing handed down through a lineage that has been kept sacred and has always been kept exactly the same. So it's it's incredible. It's extremely powerful. And what I love about it is that we can't tell anyone what their experience is going to be, because it's individual and it works with them, and it's not of any human mind. It's working with the light, and so that infinite intelligence is working with the person who receives. And so, I mean, for me, who would not want to receive that? We need it in the world. Even if it's just an hour and a half of just being supported and held in a lovely space, but a deeper connection to your soul. I mean, we need that in the world, a deeper clarity of who you are and who you came here to be. So, I mean, for me, in the way that I work, it's for everyone. But it's if you're feeling and you're hearing this and you're like, yeah, that's what I want, then you need to go and receive it for sure. But what I find is sometimes you have to learn to discern between your mind and your soul. And your mind might be going no, 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 and it might be really resistant to to receiving something, but you might also be really interested. So this is what's so beautiful about the path. It teaches you how to listen to which part of you is actually aligned with who you really are. So if it's bringing anything up. It might be that this conversation and hearing about the life activation is like a really resistant no, then it's probably for you. So my answer is, that's a long answer, but it's really for everybody. And don't we want to live in a world where everyone is living in a greater alignment? I do. So the more people that receive, the more we will create a different world. So everyone.
Thank you so much. And that is the last question that I had about the life activation. So I would like to finish off with asking you, for all of those that are listening into this interview that are not in Sweden, that was like, oh, I would like to go and see Anna. Where are you located? Where can people find you? And yeah.
I'm an hour and a half south of London in Surrey, in a place called Hazelmere. I have a healing room, and yeah, people can reach out and come and experience a life activation, or full spirit activation, or whatever it might be that they want to receive. So yeah.
Wonderful. And I will, as usual, share links and everything to get into contact with Anna. The kitten is playing with the moving boxes here. Having fun. Thank you so much, Anna, for taking the time to come on here and share your journey and your light with us for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been really lovely to talk with you.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, and bye-bye.